All right, chat. I wanted to have a little bit of fun today with a little politics. We'll probably do the more Twitch stuff later, but Matt Gaetz, the accused child sex trafficker, goes out and he went off on a rant today or yesterday, chat, called "America Runs on Cocaine." I'm Twitch dramaed out. I mean, what do you want me to even say? What do you want me to even say? And before we get into Matt Gaetz, legitimately, you're telling me this guy isn't butthead? You're telling me this guy is not fucking butthead? Like, look at this shit. Same haircut. I mean, just the way he sounds. Like, this motherfucker's butthead. Don't this butthead like that? All right, let's get in on this. And I want to show you another speech that I watched yesterday that was pretty sweet.
I get why it's hard to keep cocaine from coming into the country. People in the United States like using cocaine. They seek it out. They pay high dollar amounts for it. And so that would be something hard to stop.
Do they? Do they, Matt Gaetz? And if they do, how would you know about it?
I mean, it's obviously true. What do you mean? What do you mean? You can make a kilo of cocaine for, like, last I heard it was like $100, and then it goes on they sell it on the street for $10K. Might even be more. How much is a kilo of cocaine? Depends on the location, the purity. It's $14,500 in San Diego and $45,000 in Anchorage. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm a boomer. I thought it was 10K a kilo. And, you know, this is the type of shit that is so weird to me, because, like, cocaine is the weirdest of all drugs. It really is. It's a drug that a lot of people consider to be a very hard drug. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cocaine, heroin, like, whoa, that's a hard drug, right? And its risk, which obviously exists. The problem with cocaine is that the amount of cocaine you have to do to feel it, and the amount of cocaine you need to do before you get, like, acute cocaine intoxication or some sort of, like, danger level is relatively close. But believe it or not, cocaine overdoses are relatively rare. How many cocaine overdoses per year? Let's see if I can find this. I want to see the cocaine one. Does anyone even can I even get that data? 5 million Americans reported current cocaine use in 2020, which is 2% of the population. Drug overdose deaths involving cocaine. All right, well, my guess is that, there's that people that use cocaine that was spiked with fentanyl. That's the issue, is the fentanyl. Like, what do you say, cocaine involved? I don't know, man. You can make your money back on cocaine immediately because it's easy to use cutting substances like gasoline, fent, baby powder, laxative pills, sleeping pills. Definitely have never done anything with that stuff. I'm a good boy. Yeah, true. Cocaine getting cut is because it's illegal.
Is it from personal experience, perhaps? Now, this was during an incredibly important House Judiciary Committee meeting on drugs in the United States. And I say it's incredibly important because we are dealing with an insanely high number of drug overdose deaths in America on any yearly basis, right? So somewhere around 100,000 Americans die every year as a result of overdoses on fentanyl, opioids. It's just a terrible situation, and we need to act. We need to do what's necessary to save lives. I have one solution right off the bat. Did you know that 23 states have banned drug testing kits? So when people buy street drugs and those street drugs end up being laced with fentanyl or other things, they're not able to test to make sure they're not taking fentanyl. Why? Why would they ban the test kits?
I mean, because they'd rather people get overdoses and die. Legitimately. This is one of the things that made me hate conservatives. What sets me apart from some other leftists is I actually despise conservatives. Like, there's a lot of leftists in America that are like, yeah, conservatives aren't so bad, you know. I like guns, they like guns. We can convert them. They have, like, lib fixation syndrome, which obviously libs are horrifying as well.
Well,
but conservatives are actually pure fucking evil, man. Ideological conservative, right? And this is one of the things that made me go like, oh shit, like, wow, conservatives are fucking scum. Is I read an article in one of my local newspapers. Yeah, I know, boomer. This was years ago. Fuck you. And they were like, you know, ambulance drivers are wasting their time. They have to go around and give out Narcan. And there was these people saying it's a waste. Oh man, I wish we didn't have Narcan in our ambulances. A little drug that costs like $100, $200 to literally save someone from dying. We shouldn't carry Narcan. And this is like a common conservative belief. No, police officers, firefighters, ambulance crews shouldn't carry Narcan to save the lives of somebody who's overdosing on a drug. Incredible, pure fucking evil, man.
There might be other toxins that you'd want to find with a test kit, but when it comes to fentanyl, I don't think you need to go and purchase one. You just bring it within 500 yards of a cop. The cop keels over. That proves fentanyl was in it, or at least somewhere within a half mile at the very least. And that's free, so sustainable.
Thank you for bringing the humor back to the conversation. No, but seriously, thank you for bringing the humor back, because I was getting into like this Debbie Downer rabbit hole. So
we'll get back there, don't worry.
Pull myself out.
I will say though, as much as I despise Matt Gaetz, and he's real human garbage, so far I'm not that against what he said. Yeah, drugs are popular. Now, I don't know what his stance will be on it in the end.
Cocaine, though, I don't know how popular cocaine is. Cocaine seems like such a waste. It seems like it's too expensive for too short of a good time.
I don't know either. Now, I'm sure you look at me and you think he's the cool kind of guy that gets invited to cool parties where there's coke passed around casually, but no, not really.
The coolest people wear dragon shirts, for sure.
They do actually.
They do though. They
be a cool person. Shop TYT. But yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm sure there's arguments against it. I don't care if people do coke. I don't care if they should be legal. No, they should do coke if they want to do coke. And people want to. Some people want to.
Yeah.
And it's probably better than some alternatives.
Listen, I want to create a situation in which people don't get hurt and where people don't get hurt, and it can be as safe as humanly safe and regulated as possible, right?
Yeah, don't do it on a cell phone case though, because there's got to be germs on there.
Okay. But no, look, the thing I want to say about Matt Gaetz in this context is more a broader point about how much Republicans love to tell on themselves, because everything they do reeks of projection. And so he can't look past his own lived experience. In his lived experience, cocaine's great. Everyone wants cocaine. Like, I get it. Americans love cocaine. All right, not all Americans. I have no interest in cocaine, but he just projects that onto everyone else. I want to go to the
cocaine is bourgeois decadence. It has blood on it every step of the way, metaphorically, because of the United States. That's it. Cocaine comes from a little leaf that grows wild like crazy in the mountains of Latin America. If it was legal, it would be a couple dollars. That is created by our policy. No other reason. In Colombia, they drink a little tea with the leaves. They chew on the leaves as a little pick-me-up. Cocaine is not some sort of like, it's like impossible to stop. It's impossible to stop it. And when it comes to the United States, people are willing to pay astronomical funds for it. So you have something that grows like a weed in Latin America, and you have Americans willing to pay astronomical sums for it. Yeah, no fucking shit. You're never going to stop it. If you really want to talk about cocaine, you really want to talk about the drug war, the reality is that the drug war was the tester, the cartels that were founded and supported by the CIA. The organized crime institutions that work hand in hand with American intelligence against left-wing movements in Latin America was the tester for globalization. All of the ideas that later got applied to the globalization of the 80s and 90s were first examined and implemented by drug cartels of the 60s and 70s. Outsourcing, long global supply chains, evading American regulation. All of that, money laundering, the corruption of the international banking system, all of that was demonstrated by the drug cartels. Corporations just copied their models. I'm not saying stop it, but you can't deny the negative effects it can have on people who lose control of their inhibitions with it. I never said that drug use has no downsides. That's not what I said. Everybody understands that alcohol can be a problem for a large segment of people. Everyone understands that people can become addicted to substances. But we also know this. Addiction rises with despair. People use these mind-altering substances as an escape the more depressed they are in life. Like, this is obvious. We know this. This is not a surprise. Why do you think drug overdoses are growing? They're growing in places where there's the least amount of hope. When I arrived in Cusco, they had literal baskets of coca leaves to hand out. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I know many people addicted to Narcan and it's ruined their life. Yeah.
A full clip of what he had to say. Okay. So he was actually discussing fentanyl when he gave his suspicious cocaine comments.
There has been discussion today of fentanyl, and it irks me every time I hear someone talk about fentanyl overdoses, because no one overdoses on fentanyl, because I don't think anybody really sets out to like score some fentanyl for a good time. I get why it's hard to keep cocaine from coming into the country. People in the United States like using cocaine. They seek it out. They pay high dollar amounts for it. And so that would be something hard to stop. But since people don't set out to use fentanyl, since it's something we don't want in our country, we should be totally capable of stopping it. And the only reason we aren't is because we purposefully allow our border to degrade. Not by accident, not because of...
God, he's dumb as fuck, dude.
Some lack of capability or some unsolvable problem set, but because there are some groups on the right and left who think that they will do better economically if we just let millions of people into the country and depress the wages of Americans and the cost they're willing.
I love how he says that that's the left is trying to suppress wages. Republicans right now are flipping out because we have high employment and they're calling for massive federal spending cuts and raising the interest rates and destroying unions. What do you think the effects of that are, Matt? You don't care about raising wages? Get the fuck out of here. Is he still under investigation? Yes.
To pay for that are the funerals and the deaths and the broken lives as a result of fentanyl poisoning, because it is not an overdose. It is a poisoning that happens.
Is he on cocaine now? Is that what's going on? That argument made no sense. The majority of overdose deaths in any given year in the United States right now are from fentanyl overdoses. Mm-hmm. So like, first he says no one-
fully legal drugs.
No, like literally fentanyl specific.
That's because other drugs are cut with fentanyl, Anna. Other drugs, they're cut with fentanyl. People put fentanyl in heroin, they put fentanyl in cocaine, they put fentanyl in other drugs in order to keep up the potency when they cut other substances like cocaine. It's also cheap as fuck. And if a person, it works in the same way that other opioids do, but it's synthetic. So you can keep people hooked on your drug because they think it's potent because you are adding fentanyl to increase the effect of the drug.
Specifically, if you look at the numbers, people have resorted to fentanyl because it's much cheaper, it's easy to access. Unfortunately, there's a lot of trafficking going on.
I had a discussion about this with a conservative yesterday. He could move past the people will die bit of drugs, whatever or not they're illegal. I legitimately might have to show you guys this. There's enough new people here. This is something that I show like every 6 months. So old mic heads are probably tired of it, but
with fentanyl,
here, let me see if I can
that's
find
why
it.
You're seeing a higher percentage of drug overdose.
It'll explain to you how conservatives' brains work.
Overdose deaths in a year being contributed to fentanyl, right? Yeah. So like that, what he said there in the very beginning of that clip made no sense. It's just demonstrably untrue.
It was part of a convoluted attempt to redefine fentanyl to be a poison instead of a drug. And it took a really long winding path, and I don't really see what the point of it is anyway. In the beginning of the clip, I thought, wait, is he expressing like empathy for people? Or maybe even setting up, there are people who are gonna want this drug, we have a multi-thousand-mile border. You're never going to be able to stop it from coming in. So why don't we have a policy that approaches this issue and addiction with empathy? It turns out that's not where he was going. He wanted to spin this fantasy that, we could shut it down instantly. We could find every ounce of drug hidden in every vehicle. And we know that the vast majority of these drugs don't come in over rugged areas of unexplored wilderness. They're driven in trucks and cars and always will be. This is part of him trying to make the argument that Joe Biden has made a conscious decision to allow fentanyl to come into this country, which is insane. Drugs enter our country under Democratic presidents and Republican presidents, and they do it because conservatives, moderates, and liberals want drugs. And there is no way you're gonna stop these substances 100% of the time from coming in. And the more you do to stop it from coming in, you just make more of an economic incentive for people to think of novel ways to bring it in. It has always made it in, it will always make it in. Our policy should finally reflect that, but that is not what he is pushing for. What he wants is billions of more dollars to go to Border Patrol. It won't stop the drug problem, but it will allow the Republicans to pretend that they're better on this policy. And it'll also waste a lot of money.
Look, I think you're being unfair to Matt Gaetz. It's wrong. You seem to not really want to do anything. You seem to not be open to any solutions to be sure, a very real problem in the United States. But Matt Gaetz does have a solution.
Oh God.
Okay. His solution is to, hold on, let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. I want to do my due diligence and not misrepresent what he's saying. He would like to, that's right, bomb the Sinaloa cartel.
That ought to do it.
What?
That ought to do it.
What does that even mean? They're totally woven into Mexican society. What, are you gonna just start bombing random apartment buildings in Mexico City? Most of their cartel family members probably live in the US or Switzerland. What? They probably live in London. They've got some mansion that they've laundered money. They have some legitimate business that they have. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
I think that Mexico and other countries in Central and South America, they've gone decades. I think they should try violence because they haven't tried that, and I think that that's probably going to wrap up the problem really fast.
Let's go back to Matt Gaetz doing cocaine. So back in 2021,
he'd prefer that too.
Yeah, he would.
His solution to the problem is you don't let the drugs come in. You take the child you're trafficking outside of the country and do drugs there. That's allegedly, that's the solution to our drug problems.
They're going to strike cartel air bases, power plants, and cartel infrastructure and other strategic cartel territory.
Headline from May 14th, 2021, Daily Beast. Representative Matt Gaetz snorted cocaine with escort who had no-show government job. Nice. When
he's got effectively a no-show government job.
100%, but so does the entirety of Congress.
That's true.
When Representative Matt Gaetz attended a 2019 GOP fundraiser in Orlando, his date that night was someone he knew well, a paid escort and amateur Instagram model who led a cocaine-fueled party after the event, according to 2 witnesses. The Florida congressman's one-time wingman, Joel Greenberg, will identify that escort to investigators as one of more than 15 young women Gaetz paid for sex, according to a similar or to a source familiar with the investigation. Yeah, so that investigation is ongoing, by the way. We'll wait for that bomb to drop. But Matt Gaetz, definitely a cocaine aficionado.
Well, I
Democrats prosecuting any Republican, never gonna happen. Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.